Welcome to my channel. These slides that are rolling by are an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. Once you have watched the video, I would appreciate it if you would click the like button and leave a small comment. It's really a big help to the channel. The YouTube logarithm, when it sees that, promotes the channel more and will be more viewers. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you for watching. Well, hello everybody. I'm just going to give you a quick look at what's progressing here in the light garden and then take you out and show you what I've been up to in the unheated greenhouse. These are the Chinese lanterns that I transplanted into these little pots in my last video. And the ones that were left over I've just let growing in this. They've really taken off. They got a little more root space now that I've removed these ones. But I think what I will do with that eventually is knock it out of the pot and divide it into maybe 4 sections and plant it outside when it's suitable to plant things outside. We're in the last week of April now, starting today. And I really can't plant anything out in my garden until the very last week of May or the first week of June, really. You can go in earlier. Sometimes we don't have any late frost, but there's not much to be gained. It's still quite cool at night, so I usually wait until at least the end of May. And these are the Rudbeckia, Black-Eyed Susan, that I transplanted into these pots yesterday, and they seem to have taken hold quite nicely. I don't see where anything is wilting back. There's also 5 hollyhocks. Yeah, that's 1 there, and 4 go back this way, and this is the 5th one over here. 10 pots of tomatoes. I may not use all of those. I don't plan to grow as many as I usually do. I had several seeds in each pot, and I think most of them germinated. I've got them down now to a single seed per pot. And some of the earlier ones that came up have already started growing their true leaves. But as I say, there's lots of time yet for them to develop into a decent-sized seedling for potting out, because it'll be at least another 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, before I put anything out in the garden, even in the greenhouse. Cool at night in the greenhouse, and tomatoes don't like cool nights. These are the 5 varieties of chili peppers that I'm growing. 5 or 6? 6, I guess. 6 varieties. And there's in the center of this batch here is a row of eggplant. When you see yellow leaves down in there, that's the seed leaves. The cotyledons on the eggplant have died back. I could take scissors and snip those off, but I've been too lazy and haven't done that yet. Yesterday I pruned the top of all of the chilies to encourage them to branch out and become a little more robust rather than slender and tall. I wanted to show you these chives. They're growing in an elevated planter on a little deck in the front of my house. Just because when we get out to the greenhouse, I want to contrast and show you what the Asian variety looks like. There's a remarkable difference. I haven't planted much in here yet. I put a row of oh dear, borage. I couldn't think what it was called. Both sides here. I've never used borage, and it's a culinary herb. I just grow it for the blue flowers. And I'm sure they will come up and grow, because borage is something that will self-seed here, even in this climate. But mine seems to have run out. I haven't seen a borage plant in a few years now. And also, what I'm noticing, I don't think I can get them in focus, but there are a few other chive seedlings coming up, because I let this bloom last year and it dropped its seeds in here. Well, there's lots of things seeded in here, but nothing really that's germinated yet. These 6-packs back here are sweet peas, and they've been in here for, I think, 3 days. The rest of it was mostly all planted yesterday, except over here there's 2 melons that I put in here this morning. One is called Prescott Fond Blanc, a French melon, which I tried to grow last year. Actually produced a melon. I was watching it carefully, and the next time I come out to think it might be ready to pick, it had sort of collapsed. I think it rotted from underneath. There were all kinds of bugs trying to eat it, and I never did get to taste it. It smelled very good. And the other one is a watermelon called Moon and Stars. Small watermelon, short season. Hopefully I'll get something out of it. Called Moon and Stars because of the pattern on its skin. It has several small dots and usually at least one large dot, which supposedly represent the moon and the stars, I guess. These smaller pots here all have sunflowers in them. A dwarf variety and a tall variety. And that is, they've only been in for 24 hours. And this is Cosmos, Calendula. This is a poppy called Shirley. Zinnias. Make a little written on that one. Oh, that's the Chinese forget-me-not, a blue flower which is very tall, evidently a free packet of seeds from Annapolis Seeds this year. More hollyhocks over in there. And this flat has got both primulas and foxglove started in it. Ordered them seeds on Amazon, which is never a good idea, I don't think. Both seed packets originated in China. They were marketed by Amazon. They didn't come directly to me from China, but the primula had a little bit of dust in the bottom, so I just put that here. There was a lot of small foxglove seeds, so this side here is relatively generously seeded with foxglove. And there's a lot of those seeds left. I'll try to find some bare spots in the garden and just sprinkle them. The perennials, these are perennials, and I guess the hollyhocks over there are perennial, so I don't expect those to bloom this year. I just hope to get some seedlings to put out in the garden. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but way over there is a large black tray, and that has got wildflower seeds in it. I ordered from Bessie. It's a variety of wildflower seeds supposed to be good for attracting bees. I ordered a 10-gram package. I had no idea how many seeds there would be. I've got that large flat well seeded with them and still got more than half of them left, so I'll scratch around and find some bare ground somewhere in the garden. I want to show you a couple of other things in here, and I brought out with me an old combination thermometer hydrometer, and I put that down under the bench in here. I will show it to you before I leave once I think it has reached maximum temperature. It's a chilly day here. There was ice in some water that was in my wheelbarrow this morning. It's only warmed up now to about 5 Celsius, but in here it is warm. It's well into the 20s in here, so I'm thinking that these things will eventually germinate and grow for me. Well, 3 of these little plots I have direct sown about a week ago, and quite a bit of it is coming up. This first one is daikon radish. The variety is April Cross. I haven't grown daikon in a number of years. It's amazing to watch the thing grow. They're huge, and I always want them to grow sort of underground like a regular radish, but they don't. A lot of it is laying on the surface. I've seen them in stores and supermarkets for years and wouldn't buy one because I figured, oh, that's a radish as big as that is, that must be quite strong. They're not. They're extremely mild, but they're coming up pretty good. Have to be thinned. I put a little pinch of seeds in 5 locations. The one in the center hasn't come up yet. This little pot is kale, and the variety is winter boar, and they are all 5 areas. I did the same thing there, 4 around the edges and 1 in the middle, and they're all coming up. Next to that is a bed of lettuce. The variety is Hampton, and that's those pelletized seeds. They're always a little later emerging, but I'm sure they will come. And this is the Rudbeckia black-eyed Susan seedlings that I had left over after I did that transplanting yesterday. And this bed, by the way, if I didn't mention, was under row cover. I just removed it a second ago. And as I say, it went quite cool here last night. There was ice in my wheelbarrow, and they weren't bothered at all. The protection from the fleece for one thing, but also they're sitting on dark soil, which accumulates a lot of heat in the daytime and gives it back off at night. So plans are to let those grow a little bit larger, and I think I will probably transplant most of them in here, just here, there, and everywhere, in case my ones that I put out in the garden don't survive next winter. Hopefully the ones in the greenhouse will. One of the few things that overwintered well in here is that lupin. There's 2 lupins, I guess, in that area, but they bloomed nicely last year and came through the winter. These are the Chinese chives. You can see I get my hand in there. They're more the size of green onions, but they're lovely. They produce all summer long. I try to keep remembering to cut the blossom heads off of them. I've had them for a number of years, very hardy. Of course, they've been in the greenhouse, but they come back every year. If you can just see him coming up there, that is my one poor little old garlic chive. I can't grow those out in the garden at all. But they do overwinter in the greenhouse for me. Well, let's have a look at that thermometer and hydrometer, and I'll close this video down. Well, it's in Fahrenheit, which will be a benefit for all of my Americans. It has just reached up to high 60s, low 70s there, I think, from the distance here, and humidity is about 50%. It's been on the ground below my fancy bench there, that's a leg of one of the 2 sawhorses that is holding up the piece of scrap plywood that I'm using for a table. So it's down there where it would be cooler, and it's in the shade, so it's very warm in here right now. Well, that will conclude this little update. Thank you very much for watching.